Second theme, cultural diffusion. Culture is the product of almost countless innovations that spread from their point of origin. Some innovations occur only once, and geographers can sometimes trace a cultural element back to a single place of origin. The ideas, the innovation, the material and non-material part of the culture spreads out. So cultural diffusion means the spread of elements of culture from the point of origin over an area. There are cases when we get to see some independent invention, meaning which is not spreading out from point of origin. Independent invention is a cultural innovation that is developed in two or more locations by individuals or groups working independently. The same or a very similar innovation is separately developed at a different place by different people. There are two major categories of cultural diffusion: relocation diffusion, expansion diffusion. And within expansion diffusion, we have hierarchical diffusion, contagious diffusion, and stimulus diffusion. Relocation diffusion means where individuals or groups with a particular idea migrate from one location to another. So it involves relocation of humans. A very good example of relocation diffusion is religion, the way it is spread out today, or the languages, the way it has been spread out. Colonizers have moved all over the world. Well, they have given their languages to the culture. They have given their religion, their way of life to the cultures. Or now with globalization, people have been moving into different cultures where they've been giving off their traits too. Language particularly has moved a lot with the colonizers. There are a lot of countries where English is one of the official languages. That's mainly because the English speakers actually have migrated a lot over the world. The second type of diffusion is expansion diffusion, which means the spread of innovations within an area in a snowballing process so that the total number of knowers or users become greater and the area of occurrence grows. So as it moves from person to person through different processes, the area covered by the diffusion increases. Now within expansion, we have three kinds of diffusion: hierarchical diffusion, contagious diffusion, and stimulus diffusion. In hierarchical diffusion, ideas leapfrog from one important person to another or from one urban center to another, temporarily bypassing other persons or rural territories. A very good example could be the way McDonald's have actually moved into the world. Well, whenever it has gone into a new culture, it first moved into big urban centers, and then it has moved to smaller urban centers. Another example could be sushi restaurants, which originally diffused from Japan in 1970s, and initially it was very slow because people were reluctant to eat raw fish. In the United States, the first sushi restaurant appeared in the major cities of Los Angeles and New York. Only gradually throughout the 80s and 90s, sushi eating became very common, and now it could also be found in the less urbanized parts of the country. The second type within expansion is contagious diffusion. Contagious diffusion is wave-like spread of ideas. So by contrast, contagious diffusion involves the spreading much more smoother as compared to the hierarchical. A very good example could be like diseases move through humans to humans when any contagious disease has been moving around. So this diffusion do not really go by any hierarchy, rather it moves from a person to person, creating a wave-like pattern. Hierarchical and contagious diffusion often work together. Example could be the worldwide spread of HIV/AIDS or Facebook or Twitter, etc. The third kind of diffusion is stimulus within expansion. Sometimes a specific trait is rejected, but the underlying idea is accepted, resulting in stimulus diffusion. Example from your book: early Siberian people domesticated reindeer only after exposure to the domesticated cattle raised by cultures to their south. The Siberians had no use for cattle, but the idea of domesticating herds appealed to them, and they began domesticating reindeer, an animal they had long hunted. So, animal is different, but the idea of having these animals domesticated moved from culture A to culture B. So, it's stimulus because the underlying idea of domestication has been accepted, but the specific trait of the animal which is to be domesticated has been rejected. Cybergeography is a new development, new branch. In fact, when I was a student, we never had cybergeography as part of cultural diversity. This is a branch of geography that studies the internet as a virtual place. So it's a new development. All types of diffusion is affected by the latest communication technology. Internet spreading ideas within no time. So are the cellular phones. Within a second you can be connected to anyone in any part of the world, and while talking we can always diffuse things. Texting language of cellular phone has also brought a lot of changes in it. Now we've been using new standard acronym like LOL, which is laughing out loud, or TTY, talk to you later. Cybergeographers normally examine locations in cyberspace as sites of human interaction with structure that can easily be mapped. So this is something new which has been coming up because this virtual space has become very important in our life.